All right, next question. All right, yeah, I got a lot of silly questions, but these are the legit ones. All right, so Joe asks, what are the most important skills to have down before getting into wingsuit flying? Good question. Lots and lots and lots of jumps. No substitute. And I don't care what the national organization suggests. I think that most people, honestly, I think most people should have 500 jumps. I think so. There are definitely exceptions. People who are really really comfortable in every way, and they handle insane situations sanely, and they've got the natural talent. That said, lots of people with natural talent have died in this sport, right? Lots of people with confidence and fearless attitude have found themselves, you know, leaving their bodies and not coming back. So, given all that, I think that I, if you were to really do it right, right, which I mean, I had a lot of jumps. I mean, it was the early days, of wingsuit flying when I started, but I had thousands of jumps. I, 5, 6,000 jumps. I have no idea, something like that. I can look back in my logbook um, to see when that was, but I want to say it was about 99 or 2000 that I flew my first wingsuit. And I had a lot of experience, and I also had a lot of tracking dives, and I recommend tracking. I think that everybody should do formation tracking jumps. Not only angle, because angle's cool, everybody wants to do that, but also flat track jumps, where not only are you cultivating the ability to maneuver, right? Because the skill is not that different really from a regular track to a wingsuit. Flying a wingsuit's not the hard part. It's really, if you get a stable exit, that's not the hard part. The hard part comes when you get unstable and you have to solve that problem. The hard part comes at pull time and through the deployment sequence, where you now have to deal with maybe a malfunction. You got to unzip out of this suit. And as you're doing it, you got to look for other canopy traffic and where's the drop zone? What direction should I be pointed? So by getting lots of experience with doing tracking dives, you learn how to plan a pattern, a flight pattern in free fall. And yes, you're not occupying as much real estate as when you're tracking as a wingsuit, but at least you're like, I'm going to go this way for a while, and obviously you want to get briefed by somebody who's a badass who really knows their stuff. Go this way for until this altitude or this much time, and then head in this direction or whatever. Maybe they just say angle it at a 45 and just keep on going. But at least you're pursuing a higher level of awareness of location, and in free fall, most people are just barely aware of altitude. And then you add ground location into it, you're asking a lot of a 200 jump wonder or 300 jumper who's they feel like they're good at this. Everybody with 200 or 300 jumps thinks that they're awesome, and they are compared to who they were when they had 50 jumps. It's all a comparison study, but compared to the person they're becoming at 500 jumps, they're not there yet, right? So I think if you really want to get good at this stuff, I suggest getting comfortable with all manner of free flying, being comfortable with back flying, because sometimes you're inadvertently on your back wingsuit flying, bad exit, or you try a barrel roll, it doesn't go well, and you're stuck on your back. And it's not the same thing when you got all this fabric. It's not. But at least you're getting used to being on your back, having the presence of mind to implement a corrective action and get yourself back to your belly. Wingsuits can spin you. I mean, spin you really, really fast in an inverted flat spin. It'll blow your mind. And so you have to have a plan. And I'm not going to go ahead and teach, a first flight course here online. But when you sit down with your wingsuit instructor, not just some guy that's got a wingsuit, somebody who's really a teacher of wingsuit flying, and they will go into all the things that you need to think about if you get into a flat spin, and all the things you need to think about in terms of exiting and not opening up too soon and taking your head off at the tail of the airplane. These are things that you can practice without a wingsuit, right? Grabbing your hands or grabbing underneath your rig or whatever your instructor teaches you to do, and presenting your chest to the relative wind with a nice arch with your knees together. You can practice that without a wingsuit. You can put on a wingsuit on the ground and hit it with a blower fan. I like to use the carpet blowers, they call snail blowers, shaped like a snail. and you just lay on a creeper with a wingsuit on years before you ever fly a wingsuit. Why not start training now? You inflate the whole thing and you practice pulling. You don't just reach in with one arm, at least not until you have a buttload of experience. Now, I still don't. I still reach in with both hands. And, sort of get used to that, bringing your knees together as you pull, so you don't go head first, and have somebody watch you, maybe film you as you sort of dirt dive this with wind, hang in a hanging harness with the wingsuit on. What does it look like? What does it feel like? All those things you can sort of baby step, creep your way towards it over the course of many months or years, because it's going to do things to you that you didn't know it could. It's going to cause adrenaline in you that you haven't experienced yet. So take your time, do the things that you need to do to get there where it feels like the next logical step for you. That there's no reason not to actually put on the wingsuit and jump. You've got the right parachute, you've got the right rig, you've got the long bridle, you've got the instruction, you've done all of the practice exits, you've done lots of tracking dives, you practice waving off with your legs, you practice the pulling thing, but you don't actually pull when you're in a track, right? You just, kind of practice it, right? You get the hang of that stuff. It can be done safely. Is it as safe as regular skydiving? For some people. For some highly experienced wingsuit flyers, I would say it's probably as safe as anything else in the sport. But when you're still learning in your first several hundred wingsuit jumps, oh no, it's definitely much more dangerous. You've got all kinds of fabric all over you. Imagine you're in, a spinning main parachute deployment. It goes on your back, and now all this fabric's going up because you're on your back. It gets weird and complicated in surprising new ways. And I'm not trying to scare you out of it. Quite the opposite. I'm just trying to say, here's the steps, baby steps, one at a time, right? So that you don't find yourself with, not enough experience to be handling what you're doing. And please, also, I will add, stay with a small suit much, much longer than you think you have to. It's become this big thing. Everybody wants these big suits. And it's starting to become a little bit saner, especially as we flock. You don't need a gigantic suit to go on a flocking dive. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a pain. He's going to get rid of all that extra fabric to stay down with the group. But if you really cultivate your skill to fly a smaller suit where you can do all kinds of different things and handle all kinds of surprises, like the inevitable bad exits, you trip or whatever it is, you bump the side of the door, you open up, one wing a little bit too much as you're leaving and you flip over. But you don't want to make the big mistakes, like opening your wings too soon, right? After you exit the airplane. So there's a lot to do. And if you were to do it the right way, there's no substitute for lots of time in the sport, lots of jumps. Delay, just delay. That's the mark of adulthood, I think, of maturity, is the ability to delay gratification, but know that you're on the path towards what you want, right? Start wingsuit training now. Just don't jump the wingsuit. Not yet, not until it's definitely time. And other people say, you're ready, you're good to go.
It's so cold, standing all alone. Can't decide on which way to go. I could hang around and do as I'm told. Spread these wings, fly so high, free as an angel. I can do anything, free as an angel, and I can do anything. It's a struggle, doing what is right. I am ready to handle that fight.